is segregation/separation. And what this word actually means in terms of U.S. history, it is a period of time when people of color, specifically black people, were separated from whites, and they had different facilities, different schools, different, areas completely. They were living completely separately on the basis of hate. White people thought that people of color were unkempt, dirty, stupid, just overall just negative. And because of that, the government created separate but equal circumstances so that white people could have these things and only have to deal with other white people, and people of color, mostly black people, would be forced to this one area. That's what that means. I just gave you a free history lesson. You're welcome. What white people think that segregation and separation is in 2015 is you pointing out that you're black and they're white. That's all the basis for it. They go, hey, why are you people with your pro-blackness and your Black Lives Matter, you're the ones separating us. You're attributing segregation. If you guys want us all to be equal, why do you keep separating yourselves? You don't understand what you're saying. There was already that separation that existed, and the safe spaces that people of color create are out of necessity and for protection. Whereas segregation, when it existed in its law form, was based on hate. Hatred for no reason other than white supremacy. That's it. Me pointing out I'm black is a fact. Me pointing out you're white is also another fact. We should be able to get along with me knowing that I'm black and you're white without us having to pretend that doesn't exist, because my skin is brown, your skin is not. I'm not attributing the segregation. I'm not trying to, bring back Jim Crow. That's not what the thing is. And then what's funny is that ties in is like white people blaming us for the situation we're in. Like, oh, you guys should separate ourselves. Separation already exists. Now we're trying to protect ourselves more so outwardly, and y'all are like, oh, why aren't I invited to this party? Historically, white people have been allowed into all spaces. And for them to not be allowed into certain spaces, it bothers them. And so now it's you that's directly contributing to segregation and separation, and not white supremacy. Because white supremacy benefits them when they can get into all spaces, but when you decide to protect yourself from that same white supremacy, now it's the real separation. Alright, seventh word is racism, or racist. What racism actually means is a system, keyword, system, of oppression based on race. So, it means things that contribute to the system that actively oppresses certain races. So, believing all black people are scary contributes to them being policed more, contributes to them being thrown in jail, therefore less opportunities, and that just, the wheel of racism and white supremacy just adds to that oppression. What white people tend to think that racism is active and outright horrible things by the KKK, pointing out that you're different races, and calling them cracker and things of that. That is literally the only three things that white people think is racism. If the KKK is hanging a person, they're like, oh yeah, that's racist. If you say, hey, you have white privilege, that's racist. And if you say, hey, white people are literal devil just based on historical events, that is racism. Racism can only affect them unless a KK member is burning a cross. Then it can affect anybody else. You ever notice how crazy that is? Like, white people will be so quick to go, racism doesn't exist anymore, it's 2015, everybody has equal opportunity. And then you go, well, shut up, cracker, and they're like, wow, that was really racist. Like, so racism doesn't exist unless it affects them suddenly. So racism's gone unless it affects them, and then it's real. But sorry to break it to you, whiteys, You can't experience racism because no matter what happens to you in that particular moment, it is one singular event and not a result of an overreaching system of oppression. So therefore, it's not racist. That person might be prejudiced in that moment, but whatever happens to you does not affect the rest of your life. Last but not least, we have my 8th word, which is not... Okay, so this word isn't technically that white people are incorrect about the meaning. It basically means when you say this word, you come off a certain way to people. So basically, it's what other people think you mean when you say this word. And the 8th word, therefore, is egalitarian / libertarian. Now, we see you're egalitarian or libertarian. This is what I hear. I'm a douchebag. That's it. That's what I hear. Sorry, but it has to be said. Specifically what egalitarian is supposed to mean. It's supposed to mean somebody that believes in equal rights and, you know, somebody that believes in equal rights and wants to fight for the equality of all people. And libertarians are supposed to be liberal politicians that want to further what politics are doing in order to help more people and make a more equal, you know, slate for everybody. But what everybody else hears when you say these words is that you want equal rights, but only on your terms. It's been countless times when a feminist page or a pro-black page, or a feminist page or a pro-black page has been talking about uplifting a certain people, and some egalitarian / anarchist is like, no, you're not looking at the big picture. That's their favorite phrase, the big picture. The big picture in the sky. I don't know what it is. It's probably a giant picture of their face like this, because that's all they care about. Anyway, they say, you're not looking at the big picture, you're separating us on stupid things. The real enemy is the government and the rich. While those are two facts, this is not an oppression Olympics. We can mobilize more than one movement. And the thing is, what you're telling me in that moment is that, hey, let me forget about my specific problems in order to further something that also affects you. So what you're saying is you don't care about what's happening in my life as long as I'm doing something to help you. Classism exists, but so does racism. I'm affected by classism and racism, and it ties back in together. So I can talk about both things. And it's not a big deal. I'm not forgetting any big picture. You only want me to talk about what you want to talk about. And then most of the people that call themselves egalitarians on the internet are just dudes that wear fedoras and harass feminists. I've yet to meet somebody that claims to be an egalitarian that actually believes in equal rights and isn't just trying to cover up their horribleness with like a plaque like, oh, well, in theory I believe in equal rights, but I'm going to call you really crappy things over the internet. And then libertarians. Terrible people because in the same breath, want equal rights but on their terms. Like when the Black Lives Matter protesters interrupted Bernie Sanders' speech and white liberals went off in incredibly patronizing and condescending ways, talking about, you guys don't know what you're doing, you know, Bernie, we're fighting for you, like, oh yeah, sorry you messed up, thank you for fighting for me, I couldn't fight for myself, oh thank you. And then on top of that, telling them the ways in which they should go about their fighting their own oppression. Sorry, you can't tell somebody how to do something that you don't. That's like me walking into a surgeon's office and being like, while they're doing surgery, and being like, listen, let me get those scalpels. Do you have a degree in medicine, surgery? I don't know, is it a surgery degree? And I'm like, no, but I definitely know what you should be doing. And they're like, no, I think you should get out. And I'm like, no, listen, you should cut the heart open straight down the middle and like stuff Cheerios in there, cause like Cheerios, you know, they're really healthy. That's what the commercials say. So give me the scalpel. They're gonna throw me out of the hospital because I don't have any experience, any knowledge in the thing that I'm trying to convince people that I know what I'm doing and how I'm trying to tell them how they should go about it when I don't know anything about it. That's what you sound like, white liberals. That's what you sound like. And you also sound like you're talking down to us like children, like, now, next time be a little bit nicer and maybe us amazing, you know, liberal whiteys will actually want to fight for you and get your equal rights. Like, my equal rights shouldn't be like, oh man, please. Like, it shouldn't be on terms that can flip-flop. Like, oh, we were going to give you your equal rights, but then you got an attitude, so we're taking it back. Like, that's not how that works. So this is what I hear out of my ears when you say you're egalitarian or a libertarian. Okay, and so that is the end of my video for 90s Feminists. I hope you guys found it very informative. And you can actually follow me on my own channel. Boop, I'm going to put a thing right here so you can follow me on my channel. And then I'll put one right here so you can subscribe to 90s Feminists, because I will be on this channel 2 times a month, on the 7th and the 21st. I know this is a day late, but that's because we were like having problems with overlap and stuff. But yeah, so this is the button to subscribe to my channel. Check me out if you want to see more of my face ranting about things, because I know you do. And then here's the button if you want to subscribe to 90s Feminists, which I recommend because there's like 8 million people on here, and they all know what they're talking about, and they upload way more often than I do. So